Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Into the Forest. Today I want to talk to you about the notion or the concept of mindfulness. I have the privilege of talking today from beautiful Kagoshima, Japan, and it really struck me thinking about mindfulness, how it's something that is so common in our modern dictionary that we use and we talk about it, but I don't think we actually have a deep understanding or connection to where that word actually comes from or what it really means. So looking first at mindfulness as an idea, this is a concept that stems from Buddhism. In the Buddhist philosophy, there's a great deal of emphasis on resting and being present in the moment. And not just simply resting in the moment of doing nothing, being idle, but letting that moment flood into you. You not having any sort of disposition towards the moment itself, but letting the moment happen and occur exactly as it is. If we look at the Zen practice of Zazen, seated meditation, many people think that being mindful or sitting in meditation means to quell your mind of all thoughts or all fluctuations whatsoever, that you're sitting at this flat line level. That's simply not the case. Zazen encourages people who are practicing Zazen to sit in the moment and let whatever the mind is producing, whether it's sensations, emotions, feelings, ideas, thoughts, to just simply arise. When you look at the clouds in the sky, you let them be clouds. You let them pass by quickly, slowly. It might be crazy formations of clouds. You have no say in it. You simply just accept them as clouds. When you look at the trees around you, you never think, oh, that tree should be straighter. That tree should have 3 more branches. Oh, there should be more leaves on that tree. You simply accept the tree for what it is. You simply accept nature for what it is. Your mind is something that is going to produce thoughts whether you like it or not. You're trying to sit still. Let's say you're trying to fall asleep at night, and you're thinking to yourself, I have to fall asleep. I have to fall asleep. What's the exact opposite of what happens? Falling asleep. It's because you're thinking about it. You can't stop thinking about it. It's only when you surrender and you stop trying to have control of a ship that can't be controlled, that you eventually end up falling asleep. And so now the mind is something very similar. It's always going to have these sporadic dispositions. What you can do is simply accept it and watch them pass by. A thought will go by just like a cloud. It's only when we attach onto it and we start dissecting that thought and seeing all the different trajectories that it could possibly take us, that we have what we call the monkey brain or monkey chatter in Buddhism. If you were to simply sit and just let your mind happen, whether it's a positive thought or it's an extremely negative feeling or emotion, just let it happen. Let it pass by. Don't think or attach onto it. Just let it exist simply. You'll notice that that thought, like a cloud, will eventually leave their frame of reference. So being mindful is doing any act, being present in that act. And if you have something that comes in between you and the act itself, you're trying to journal and you have all these thoughts coming to your mind. You're trying to read a book and you can't stay focused. Let the thought pass through. Don't attach onto it. Remain in the activity. You're taking a bath. You're simply taking a bath. You're not trying to plan out your life. Many people say, oh, I have my greatest thoughts in the shower. That might be true, but still those thoughts, let them just be thoughts and let them pass through you. Right now, you're in the state of taking a bath or taking a shower. Be present in that act. Don't attach on to thoughts that pass through the mind in that moment. One of the best examples that we can think of presentness is the state of the mind of an athlete. If you look at somebody who's playing football or doing martial arts especially, or rock climbing or whatever it might be, they don't have the opportunity of thinking of anything else in that moment because the moment itself is tasking them with something physical. You have to make the tackle. You have to block this next punch. You have to grab the small ledge of a rock that's a little bit ahead of you. Those are things that you're being pressed with. You don't have time for external noise or influence. The second that the mind comes in and you start attaching onto the mind is when you make a mistake or when you fall. So being mindful is kind of this twofold dilemma in that first you have to be completely present with the activity that you're doing itself, whether it's cooking breakfast, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, shaving, whatever it looks like, as mundane as it might be, but also letting whatever occurs in the mind to simply pass through it. You're not trying to go to a river and put these blockades in it and stop every thought as it occurs. Simply let thought flow. Simply let yourself flow. Let that thought flow through you while remaining present in the moment. Some of you may think this sounds incredibly difficult, and it is. There's a reason why Zen Buddhist monks or other philosophical religious traditions dedicate their entire lives to these forms of meditative practices, because they are not something that you could simply just sit down and do with the snap of a finger. It takes effort, it takes intentional effort, and it takes time, it takes dedication, it takes a regimental routine to try and bring those aspects of yourself and also surrender those aspects. So how can you start? How can you start being mindful? Well, when you're doing anything, you could first have this small internal dialogue. Let's say you're cooking breakfast or cooking dinner. Say to yourself internally, I'm cooking dinner. Be present in that moment and be present in all the following subsequent moments. You're cutting up a pepper, cut the pepper. You're stewing some meat, focus on that at hand. Don't try to escape the moment with every passing thought. It's like trying to latch onto a cloud that's passing by. It's not going to work for you. Instead, when something arises, let it pass through and bring yourself back to the moment. What are you doing right now? I'm cooking dinner. Cook dinner. Give your total and complete attention to whatever you're doing in that moment. Eventually, over time, you're going to notice that you don't have as many thoughts as you used to passing through, because the mind realizes, well, this person's grown. They're stronger now. When a thought passes through, they don't immediately attach and latch on. Unconditionally present. If you're listening to somebody talk, don't be listening, simply waiting to give your response. Listen to what they have to say. Give them your complete attention. When you're reading a book, don't skim through it just so you can say that you've read it and you got to the end. Read every single word, every single line with complete and utter intention, with complete and utter focus. If you're shoveling your driveway, if you're driving your car, if you're shampooing your hair, if you're cleaning up and mopping the floor, whatever it's doing, ground yourself. Look at the task at hand. Be completely present at the task at hand. And when inevitably thoughts start to occur, start swirling through, and they're trying to come at you in all these different directions, let them come. You're walking outside, you can't see the wind. You can feel it. Sometimes it blows at you from multiple different directions. Let it happen. Let thought occur to you. You can't stop it. Just like you can't stop the wind from blowing through your hair or hitting the back of your jacket or whatever it might be when you're walking outside. Thought occur, let it happen, let it pass through without any attachment, without any gripping. And after a while, you're going to realize that thought is just like a cloud in the sky. Thought is just like a tree being blown in the wind, a leaf falling from the branch. Be utterly present, utterly present. I can't stress this enough. Every single task that you do, focus and ground yourself. The task, unconditionally grateful that you even have a present to be present in. Be unconditionally grateful that you even have a moment to be present in. Sit still. Focus on your breathing. Ground yourself at each and every moment. Try to employ through these practices of old, you recognizing the situation, or somebody telling you something and you remembering it, or you trying to be thoughtful. While those things are all important and essential in your interactions with people every day, being mindful is only going to truly bring ease and tranquility to you, the practitioner. So you're focusing on a job interview. Well, ground yourself in that focus. Ground yourself in the task of preparation. Look at what you're doing. When you have all these uncertainties and these anxieties flying at you from a million directions, realize that A, that's normal. That's the human experience. B, you can't do anything about it. So C, let it go. Let it pass through you. Don't grip onto it. We're going through an age or modern dilemma where everybody feels and experiences mental health aversion to the most extreme extent possible. Everybody's gripped with anxiety, with fear, with uncertainty, with doubt. Most of it lies with the fact that we can't live in the present moment. If you're feeling anxious about something, does it pertain to the moment itself? Are you in front of a tiger or about to fall off a cliff? No, it's often something that you're imagining in the future. That event hasn't even happened yet, and you're giving yourself debilitating stress and panic over something that might possibly occur. It might not occur either. You're not doing yourself any good by not being present in the moment, by not being grounded, by attaching and gripping onto every single thing that the mind presents to you. Look at Stoics of past, and they knew this very well. They said that, a person suffers more from their interpretation of reality than the reality itself. And that's so true. That's so true. Most of us interpret our reality or something that might happen or something that could have happened or should have happened or whatever it might be. We place so much emphasis on that and we're locked in that. And it'll be years after or days before this thing is even happening. And we are locked in that. When in reality, that moment doesn't exist. It exists in your mind only. When the actual moment comes, it's going to look different, no doubt, than how you perceived it. What are you missing? You're missing each and every second that's passing by you throughout your days. Another thing is, we don't know how many days that we have. We don't know how many tomorrows we have. There are only so many tomorrows. We will all face undeniably. So focus on grounding yourself, being present, being intentional with everything. Your breath, the words that you speak, the way that you listen to others, the way that you prepare your food, the way that you prepare yourself in the day. Do not be caught up in the clouds moving in the sky. Do not be caught up with the leaves falling from the tree. You know that you can't control them or change them. So why do you feel this need to control every little thought or feeling that you're coming across? It's not possible. So in short, if you're looking for something that can help you in this matter, start an activity that truly grips you in that activity, whether it's drawing or it's running or cycling or cooking something delicious for you and your family or friends. Try to capture that moment within yourself. Be mindful of yourself in that moment. What are you doing? What is the task at hand? If you're feeling some sort of anxiety or doubt, uncertainty, or affliction in thought, let it be. Don't try to escape it. Don't try to make your mind go somewhere else it can't be right now. Be totally